Welcome to Daily Tanya. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd day of Menachem Av, and we continue in letter 7 in Igeret HaKodesh. And let's begin with tzedakah. Gedolei tzedakah, shemekarev es geula. Tzedakah brings Mashiach closer. So this letter began. The Rebbe tells us, Ashreinu matev chalkeinu. What do we say in the prayer? How fortunate we are, how good our share. And he asked the question, what does it mean, our share in God? That is, God obviously is indivisible, cannot be separated, divided into parts and shares that we have. And slowly but surely is getting to this, the explanation of what that means. And we discussed yesterday about Kudsha Brichu, the meaning of the Holy One, blessed be He. That Hashem is the Holy One. Holy means separated, apart, completely above. And blessed be He means drawing down. That the very essence of God is obviously beyond and above, cannot be, it's not divisible, and cannot be something that comes down in a interior, in a inward way to animate this world. It's only encompassing us. But yet, in the same time, there is the radiance after God contracted His light and radiance. That came down. Slowly but surely, with the different levels and different world, that was reduced to the point that it can affect itself and animate the entire world with all its details. What is the purpose of all of this? What is the purpose of creation? Ultimately, the purpose is Hashem wanted to have a dwelling place in this world. And the way He does this is through the Torah. And it's the person, it is the Adam, it is the soul of the Jew that contains within him 613 parts of the neshama. Just like the body has 613 parts, with the 248 limbs, 365 sinews. And this also corresponds to the parts in the soul. In the soul, the spiritual sense, we also have that. And that the Alter Rebbe says that the light that comes from Hashem, although it is above in the higher worlds, it is beyond and unlimited and infinite. When it came down to animate this world, it came down, and generally speaking, it was divided into 613 parts. And it goes into the soul of Adam. The Adam's soul was a very general soul that had it also in general 613 parts. And that is connected more in detail with each individual soul is connected to the soul of Adam. And that is a general division. But then there is subdivisions, endless subdivisions. And this is the neshama of each individual. Every individual Jew that has a soul, we all have the soul, the godly soul, each one of us is connected to the very detail or a very small detail, but an important one. Every part of the neshama is important because it connects us to God in yet another way. And that's the ultimate purpose, is that all of the parts should be connected. Should be the fusion between the spiritual and the physical, between God and the soul, through the mitzvahs, through the Torah. And this is why, the Alter Rebbe says, the Torah has 613 commandments. But if you go into the details, if you open up the book of the Code of Jewish Law, there's much, much more. There's endless laws. There's always coming up more questions and more problems we need to solve halachically, and all of this is part of God's will. And when we connect through these halachas, through these laws, through these mitzvahs of the Torah, God's will, we connect that individual part of our soul to Hashem. So let's see inside what the Alter Rebbe says. Says the Alter Rebbe, והנה, האור זו, אף שלמיילו היא מאירו מספשטת זה בחינס בלי גבול ותכלס. Now, although above, in the lofty worlds of infinitude, this illumination shines and extends itself in unlimited and infinite fashion. This, we're talking about the light of Hashem that reduced itself and created in the upper spiritual worlds endless worlds. To animate worlds that are infinitely concealed, meaning there are infinite kinds of worlds, each of which is of infinite degree. The Rabbah, as it is written in the Rabbah in the Zohar. So this is the way it is above. And then when it comes down to animate the lower worlds, it was divided into 613 parts. Nevertheless, this radiance descends by means of numerous contractions to animate the beings that have been created, formed, and made. And these three words, Nivroim, Yitzurim, and Naisim, refers to the three worlds of Bria, Yetzira, and Asiyah, world of creation, world of formation, and the world of action. So the unlimited world, what he's talking about, is talking about the higher world, the world of Atzilus, and before Atzilus. So the light, when it comes down to these three worlds, in Echlekes derech klal, the mispar taryag keneged taryag mitzvus atera. So this is divided primarily into 613 rays, corresponding to the 613 commandments of the Torah. These commandments are in fact 613 kinds of conduits which transmit this radiance from the infinite Ein Sof light. And whose function is to illumine man's soul, which comprises 248 organs and 365 sinews, totaling 613 elements. For it was mainly for the sake of man's soul that this radiance was caused to flow down below. That's the purpose, man's soul, so we can use our neshama and bring this light and connect to this light through the mitzvahs. To all these beings which have been created, formed, and made, their respective locations in the world of Bria, Yitzir, and Asiyah being below the loftier world of infinite degree. And all of this, all of the higher world, the spiritual world, the physical world, it's all for one purpose, so that man can come and connect through these lights and connect to Hashem. Since the ultimate purpose of all of these beings, as is known, is man. Thus, God's being is indeed utterly uncompounded, so that there cannot possibly be any division into parts. Nevertheless, with regard to the radiance that descends below, whose main purpose is that it permeates the Jewish soul, the concept of parts does apply. So the above mentioned rays are the 613 basic parts into which the radiance is diffused. Now the Rebbe goes on now to say that more specifically, The Alter Rebbe now goes on to say, each of these general parts subdivides into infinite number of smaller parts. So there's the 613 general mitzvahs, but obviously when you open up the book, the laws, for example, the law, one of the mitzvahs of the 613 is to keep Shabbat. If you open up the book of the Code of Jewish laws, Shabbos, there's endless numbers of laws, what is permitted, what is not. And each of these laws are connected with a certain part of our soul. And ultimately, we need to connect all these tiny little wires to connect to Hashem with every part. And that brings the perfection of this world. Continues the Alter Rebbe, now this number, above division of the divine radiance into 613 parts, corresponding to the 613 commandments, this is the primary, basic division. More specifically, however, every single commandment subdivides into infinite details. These are the essentials of the details the rulings of every commandment which are without number. As it is written, it says in the book of the Song of Songs, 60 are the queens, which is our sage's comment in the Medrash. It says this alludes to 60 tractates, 60 tractates of the Talmud. The same verse continues and says that maidens without number, which is our sage's comment that alludes to the innumerable rulings of the individual laws. For they are a downward flow from the supreme will, which is infinite. All of these details of the law represent the infinite details of God's will. The Alter Rebbe goes on now to say that just as the soul is made up of 248 organs and 365 sinews, so that it may absorb the luminosity of the 613 general rays, so too are souls further divisible, so that they may absorb the infinite degrees of the more differentiated rays, so that each neshama, each soul is connected to a certain part, certain level, certain part of the rays. That's what Alter Rebbe continues and says. It is precisely so with man's soul, which has the means to absorb the innumerable details of the downward flow of divine radiance. For all the souls in the world were comprised in Adam. Basically, his soul, Adam's soul, was divisible into 613 elements consisting of 248 organs and 365 sinews. Talking about, obviously, spiritual things. But more specifically, however, his soul was divisible into innumerable sparks, which are the souls of all of Israel, all of the Jewish people. From the days of the patriarchs and the founders of the 12 tribes up to and including the time of the coming of Mashiach. Sheyikuyom oz ma shekasuv v'yamispa bnei Yisrael kechel hayom asher lo yimad v'lo yisafad norav. When the promise of the scriptures will be fulfilled, and the number of children, of the children of Israel, will be like the sands of the sea that cannot be measured nor counted because of its great quantity. We understand from the above that Adam's soul, which comprised the innumerable sparks of individual souls, was capable of receiving the infinitely numerous details, emanations from the radiance of the Supreme Will, which ultimately animates all of the individual Jewish souls. And that's why our sages tell us also that there are certain mitzvahs. Of course, every Jew is supposed to perform all of the mitzvahs, but there are certain mitzvahs that is specifically connected with individual Jews. Like the Gemara says, our sages tell us, your father, what was his special mitzvah? So that means every neshama is connected with a certain special mitzvah. How do you know which mitzvah is yours? Connected to your soul. It could be two ways. It could be a mitzvah that you find it difficult to do, and could be also a mitzvah that you chance upon. If God puts you in a position when you see something that you're able to do, it means that mitzvah is connected with your neshama. And especially if that thing that you had chance upon is difficult for you to do, that itself is a sign that that the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, does not want you to perform the mitzvah that's connected specifically to your neshama. In any case, this is what we learn from this lesson about every Jewish neshama is connected to Hashem with the 613 ways, specifically through the mitzvahs that we do. And let us hope, as we'll say, as we just read, in the coming of Mashiach, everything will be revealed. All of the mitzvahs, our connection to God, will be fully revealed. And Bezat Hashem will continue tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.